You are listening to the Bright Life Podcast, all about ways to stay inspired, chase your dreams, and find more gratitude in the highs and lows of the journey. I'm your host, Jessica Johnson. I'm a business owner, a part-time digital nomad, a self-growth junkie, a believer in other big-hearted women, and am all about sharing tips, tricks, lessons learned, and encouragement so we can all live our biggest, brightest lives. You ready? Let's do this. This month, if you have been following along on Instagram, we've been talking about deciding. How do you choose when the choice feels unclear in your heart, or your heart is at war with your mind over a decision? Maybe you have two great choices and you're not sure which one to take, or maybe even two bad choices and you're trying to find your way to the best one. And in line with that, I recently had this thought about deciding that I wanted to share with you. It's made a big difference for me because I don't know about you, but something that I feel like happens when many of us are in decision mode is we can make ourselves wrong for whatever choice that we do make. So let's say you finally decided on which job offer to take, or which city to move to, or which business to start, but you can't stop thinking about that other option and path you could have chosen. And so all your energy, instead of going into this new thing that you could be creating and fully loving, is spent rethinking your decision, is spent kind of wasted on thinking of where you went wrong instead of what is so right about where you are. So if that resonates with you, I want to share today on some things that have helped me in terms of really fully loving and leaning into the choices that you and I make, because it makes the rest of the journey so much better. So I've thought of a few different ways and scenarios that this could apply to. Like, for example, I know many of you who listen are thinking of starting businesses or podcasts or writing books one day. And so maybe you're in this stage where you're like, I want to start a business, but I also have my full-time job and I feel like I have to juggle both. That was a stage I was in for some time. And so no matter what, you're feeling like you can't devote as much time as you want to this business that you want to build because you have this other job, or motherhood or something that's taking up a lot of your time and energy on the other side of this business or creative venture. And so where I see a lot of people fall into, and some traps that I used to fall into as well, would be thinking, while you're building that business, all you're thinking about is how much time, you should be spending devoted to it instead of at your job, right? Or when you're at work, you're like, man, this is a waste of time. Like, I should be building my business. I could be getting there so much faster. And what happens is you miss out on the opportunities in front of you with the path that you are on. So you never want to wish away any season, because the truth is they are all valuable and they are all setting you up for the next season. So if you're in this scenario where you have a full-time job, or you are, a full-time stay-at-home mama, but you also have this other thing that you want to build, what I have learned to be such a better use of your energy and your thoughts and your mental headspace is to think a pattern like, wow, I'm so grateful that I have this 9-to-5 job, let's say, where I have my bills paid for, where I have surplus income to pour into this venture that I want to build, where I have a steady paycheck, where I know exactly what I need to do every day, and I can give little headspace to my work at home, and instead I can come home and pour my heart into building this other thing. I love that I am in a place where I can pay more attention to the tech and the sales and the customer relations and how this big company does something, so I can take the things that I like when I build my own company and apply it there. I love that I can learn different software. I love that I can go to conferences. I love that they may even pay me to learn different skills like writing or graphic design or marketing or events or whatever it may be, because I know that those are all things that I will take with me forever beyond this one job. I will apply it to my company and to the way I want to build things in the future. And those are skills that don't just live and die in this one job, but actually become part of me. Do you see what a difference that makes when you, instead of feeling like you're always either wasting your time or doing it wrong in your 9 to 5. Instead, you are using it as a training ground. You are looking at it with fresh eyes and intention every day. Every interaction you have with a coworker becomes something that you can take with you to deal with customers better in the future, or can become a relationship that you nurture, because you never know, your coworkers today could become your first clients in the future. They have been for me. So many of the companies that I left when I started my own businesses actually reached out and wanted to pay me for my services, even as my own boss. So you never know what season you're in and the path that you're on, whether you want to be or not for this period of time, like what that actually could be doing that is in service to you and to your next season. Right? And if you contrast that with the feelings of, oh, like, why am I here? This is a waste of time. I should be doing something else. I could be using my energy so much better. I can feel, even in 2 seconds saying that, my energy just drop. Right? I don't know about you, but it's like, the air is sucked out of the room. So that's the power of shifting even just your thoughts around a scenario. And you could apply that to so many things in your life. Let's say that you have a health goal and you are in the stance of you really want to reach your health goal. Maybe it's training for a race or a triathlon or just getting into your best shape. And then on the other side, right, the path that you could be taking is not caring so much about that health goal and instead being able to go out when you want, eat what you want, hang out and socialize and maybe drink more alcohol than you want. And so you're kind of in this tug of war, conflict in your head, because you see your friends going out on a Friday night and doing the things that on some level you want to do. But then over here, you have this health goal that's important to you. So if you can cut through the clutter and not make yourself wrong, no matter which path you're in, so you're not out on a Friday night saying, oh, I should really be sleeping in and taking better care of myself because I do have this goal that's important to me. Or on the flip side, you're not at home prioritizing what's important to you and then feeling like you're, lame and missing out because your friends are all out eating whatever and you just can't join in the same way. That is where you want to get out of. So instead, the mental track could be, if you do want to reach this health goal, could be something like, I am so grateful that I get to make myself stronger in this season, that I get to prioritize my self-care, that I get to see my limits and what it's like when I get my full sleep and drink all my water and eat more veggies and feel better than I've ever felt. This is something I've wanted to do forever. This is an honor and a privilege to have a body that can be on this journey with me. I know that one day I'll be back in a season where I'm not training as hard, or I don't have to be up at 6 a.m. to do XYZ, but I can instead lay off the brakes a little and go out with my friends or have that treat that I really want. But right now, what a gift to be able to be in this slower season, to be prioritizing the things that are so important to me, to be getting more energy and a clearer head and better hormones and more sleep and just vibrancy. I love how I feel right now. I'm grateful to be on this journey. I'm grateful to be challenging my own limits. I've always wanted to see what I was capable of, and on and on. So that's like a thought track that you could have, and that's the power of being so fully invested for whatever path you're on. I was talking with some mom friends recently, and I think it applies to all scenarios. Like even that, like whatever season you're in, if you can make yourself right for that, where you don't need to feel like you're missing out or you can't do everything right now, but instead just feel the power of the choice that you do want to make and the path that you are on, it really allows you to be where your feet are, like be present where your feet are, and to make that right. And what happens when you do that is you start to find more ways that you are right and that the season that you're in is right for you and that you are grateful for it. If you're constantly in this mental chatter of making yourself wrong either way, you kind of miss out on the magic of either path. Right? Because the one that you're in, you make wrong, you're thinking about the other side. And then if you go and think about the other side or go down that path, then you're always thinking about the other thing that you could have done on that side. And so you never get to actually embrace the beauty of where you are and the path that you have chosen. So I think that would be one of my biggest takeaways is like, it doesn't so much matter at the end of the day what path you go down. as long as you make it the path that you so fully love and so deeply feel fulfilled by and that you are present with, then it becomes the path that's right for you. It's almost like the grass isn't greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it. That is like the theme of this episode, right? Another piece of this is that everything has trade-offs. Everything has trade-offs. So if you're going to be sitting at home building a business at night, yes, the trade-off is you might not get to spend as much time going out or doing the parties or whatever you want to be doing, right? But that's the trade-off to building something that you're passionate about and that years from now could give you so much more freedom and more fulfillment. If you are wanting to be able to build a beautiful home life, you may not be in a season of travel. And so you may see the people on Instagram traveling the world, but you don't have to miss that because you are at home building all the beautiful fruits of your home life, or vice versa, right? Like I've been in seasons of travel so much as well. And, everyone at home may have their holidays or their traditions or reunions or things they're doing together. But the trade-off of that is that I'm having these experiences around the world and memories that I'll have in their own way forever too. So again, it just really goes back to there's no perfect path. Every single thing that you're deciding between has trade-offs, whether it's what business to build, whether or not to have kids, how many kids to have, whether you should go all in or balance your 9 to 5 while building a business, what kind of health goal you're going to reach, what you want to be doing with your nights and weekends. It all has trade-offs. And so one question I always use is, when I'm 80, what will I look back and wish I had done? And for me, that's always a pretty clear guiding light and compass to live without regrets. Is if I can think of myself way down the line, will I have done the things that I wanted to do? And if not, what can I do to shift myself to that place? Knowing there's trade-offs, knowing either path has its fruits and offerings, but what is going to be the one that I'm so grateful that I went down and took when I'm an 80-year-old? So if you are in a season of trying to decide what to do, or you have made your path and you're just starting to find yourself thinking about the other path you could have taken, I hope this episode nudges you to see that you have the power to choose your thoughts, and that instead of choosing thoughts that feel disempowering, that feel like you are making yourself wrong no matter what, you can choose the thoughts and choose to get excited about this path that you're on and to find the goodness in it and to make yourself right either way. And it comes down to being present where your feet are, to falling in love with the journey that you're on, knowing it may not be someone else's journey, but that's what makes it beautiful. It's your journey, and you've chosen it intentionally to love it no matter what. I think from there, everything blossoms. There, you're able to lean so much more fully into this season where it's if you're giving your energy to something else, your energy and your attention just fly out the door, and you don't have the power of your energy and intention being in the room where you are with the people you're with in the moments that you're in now. That is what makes a life full of memories that we can feel and remember in our soul versus feeling like it's just passed us by and what happened. So I hope this gives you the little kick that you need to remember the power to choose, first and foremost, the life that you want. And secondly, to fall in love with it, whatever your circumstances are, to find the goodness, to return to it in whatever way possible, and to fall in love with uniquely your path, even if it doesn't look like anyone else's or what you thought it would. I hope this just helps you get back to a place where you feel like you have the power to really love the path that you're on and to choose one that delights you, that you're proud of, that fulfills you. And if you aren't, to choose again anytime. Thank you so much for listening in. If you love this episode, there are 2 things that would be so helpful to me and this podcast. One, if you haven't yet, is to leave a review. These take less than a minute, but help get this podcast into the ears of more listeners and women it can uplift. Or if you've already left a review, share this episode on Instagram and tag me at @HiJessicaJohnson so I can personally thank you and reshare. Thank you for being here, and I will see you again next week.